This podcast is sponsored by Talkspace. You know when you're really stressed or not feeling so great about your life or about yourself? Talking to someone who understands can really help. But who is that person? How do you find them? Where do you even start? Talkspace. Talkspace makes it easy to get the support you need. With Talkspace, you can go online, answer a few questions about your preferences, and be matched with a therapist. And because you'll meet your therapist online, you don't have to take time off work or arrange childcare. You'll meet on your schedule, wherever you feel most at ease. If you're depressed, stressed, struggling with a relationship, or if you want some counseling for you and your partner, or just need a little extra one-on-one support, Talkspace is here for you. Plus, Talkspace works with most major insurers, and most insured members have a $0 copay. No insurance? No problem. Now get $80 off of your first month with promo code SPACE80 when you go to Talkspace.com. Match with a licensed therapist today at Talkspace.com. Save $80 with code SPACE80 at Talkspace.com.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Energy to Heal podcast. My name is Laura and I'm your host here. We talk about all things Splankna on this podcast, which is a faith-based inner healing modality that, as you know, if you've been here for a little while, changed my family's life. And so I've kind of made it my mission to get the word out about what this modality is and that there's a God that is so interested in your life getting healed and set free. Today, I have a guest here named Josh Spangler. I'm excited to bring him on because he is a guy. He's a dude, and I am excited for you to hear this Splankna therapy, inner healing concept from a guy's perspective. I feel like there are so many things out there meant for and catering towards and made by women, and we have half the population that is sitting there with a ton of stuff from their past, a ton of responsibilities in life. Stress builds up, life builds up, and this half of our population does not know what to do with it because they've never had space or time to be taught what to do with emotion, which is like a non-negotiable part about being a human, is having emotions. So Josh is going to share his story with us, not only his own healing journey, but then what he has learned as a practitioner himself. So here's my conversation with Josh. I want to tell the audience, this guy, Josh, I've met him a few times in person, and this was my first introduction to you as you were talking to someone, and you just simultaneously speak with people and listen to Jesus at the same time. You are listening and talking, and I was like, this person was being very moved by what you were saying. You are just really sensitive to the Lord's voice. You're very aware, and you frequently get words for people. The Lord just tells you things. And so if there is someone listening who is resonating with this word, you know that story of having an emotionally distant father, and then you grew up and married a man who's the same way. This is Josh saying, hey, the Lord wants to stop this entire podcast right now to tell you he can be that father that you never had. He can be that like strong, grounding male presence that you've been looking for your entire life. And how fitting for an episode geared towards men, because one thing I do on TikTok is talk a lot about emotional intelligence, and not because I'm so emotionally intelligent, but because our country is lacking in it. And one thing that does is it leaves our families pretty broken. We have a lot of families struggling, and one of the struggles is men they don't know how to be emotionally present with their families. And man, if we could repair that, if we could speak some life into that would change our whole nation, I think.
Yeah. I don't just hear the words, I feel them. And so it's like, that's definitely feels like what's on the Lord's heart, you know. So you said you want to know what got me into Splankna, yeah?
Yeah. Why do you care about healing so much?
That's maybe a bit different than Splankna, but like I think the Lord, like I always think of it like when Jesus was in the Garden of Gethsemane and he asked the disciples just to stay up with him. and pray with him. He's just like, just be with me. And I couldn't do that, but I think that he asks the same of us. Like sometimes intercession is just feeling what the Lord's feeling.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like you naturally know what to do from there, but like just attuning to his heart and feeling into what his heart is and what he's feeling. And honestly, like for me, it's weird. It feels backwards. Like a lot of the times I'll feel it before I even like have an awareness of what it is. And sometimes I don't even know. Sometimes I'm just crying and I know it's the Lord and I have no idea what it is. And then I just keep going, and I think sometimes the Lord just kind of like laughs at it, confounding my understanding. But I've always been an emotional creature, grew up a pretty sensitive kid. So my dad passed. So it's like, there was a buildup of a lot of different things, but the biggest ones were, my dad passed in my senior year of high school. Mm-hmm. And then my mom got basically, mentally institutionalized in increasing amounts from my freshman year in high school on. And so like once my dad passed, she just wasn't really the same, Mm-hmm. And had to move to South Georgia, away from me. And so like my senior year, I was just like living with friends because I, didn't have anywhere to go. And then I went off to college and, my friends at the time were really into partying and rock and roll kind of lifestyle, drugs and alcohol, women, and like we that wasn't who I knew, like when we grew up. And so I was just like, well, I guess this is the parting of the ways. So when I went off to college, I was just like, it was a fresh start, like brand new. And then I kind of dove into the community, really dove into prayer, trying to connect with the Lord. And that's when I learned, about prophecy, about intercession, about, just connecting with the Lord's heart in a really deep, intimate way with some really awesome people that I prayed with a lot in the prayer ministry there at college. I went to a mission trip overseas and came back, and I won't go into all the details of what happened, but I came back. It was a very awful experience with the people I went, and I had all the symptoms of PTSD that within, a month of me getting back, I couldn't feel sensation in my body. I couldn't feel emotions, So all this that I'm talking about, wasn't a thing. I didn't have empathy. I couldn't resonate with people like that. All of my normal mode of functioning was just gone, that was also how I connected with God. So
wow.
What I could feel was this really uneasy buzzing in my body, just this numbness, but it was uncomfortable numbness. And then I would have demonic dreams at night. I would have to shake for at least an hour before I went to bed at night because there was so much survival energy stuck in my system. And so I was freaking out, living my life in the third person. It felt like torture, really. And I still don't have my body back like I did at that age, which was
Meaning you still feel separate from it in some ways?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, wow. It's still a process for sure.
Yeah.
Basically, to sum it up, I think there was so many emotions that got drawn to the surface in that moment. My nervous system, there's definitely some agreements that happened in that as well, right? From the Splankna perspective, but it was we don't have the bandwidth for this. We're going to shut it all down.
We're out of here. Yep.
Literal, opposite compensation, right? Too many emotions, we're going to do no emotions. We're going to do the opposite of emotions. So we're not even going to feel sensations, But when you do that, that's not a, maybe that can happen in a moment, but it's not meant to last years, right? So that next year, I mean, I was like I switched majors that year, like trying to kind of figure myself out, to a counseling degree. Or I just changed it that year prior, but I was like kind of in the mix of that. And I was like when I'm reading my textbooks, I'm looking at all the modes of therapy that could potentially help me, because the therapist I was going to at the time wasn't helpful. My professors weren't helpful. It was just like, I don't know. It felt like it's like no one really got my experience, They're like, oh yeah, like you don't get this. This is not normal, And at that time in my life, I didn't have a voice for my experience. And I just imagine, not trying to compare, but all the, guys in the military.
Yeah.
Just what they go through, God. And it's even a next level of it, because you do that with people that, you come back to your life and you're separate from them. But
so you're surrounded by counseling people. This is like, you've already switched your major. You're surrounded by counseling professors and nobody can help you.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, I was like struggling, right? Well, it just seems like no one had a real listening ear. There was one professor, his name was Professor Kozer. He was like God's gift to humanity in the form of empathy. Like, he could empathize. That skill was just amazing, but he was always really busy. So couldn't seem to really get any time with him.
Okay.
Yeah, just was very desperate. So we went to AACC, which is American Association of Christian Counselors. I brought this up last time, right? I mean, I'm just like scanning, It was weird. Like, I felt like I was living my life. Like, it even affected my vision. Like, I was seeing like colors were dulled.
Wow.
Yeah. I experienced that actually when I was overseas. I was like under such oppression by like the offense that I had towards the people that were, basically spiritually abusing me verbally, and just the atmosphere there, and the Lord just convicted me like, yes, it's wrong, but you need to forgive them. And so I forgave them, and after I opened my eyes, I could like see color again. I was like, what the heck? I was freaked out. And then I didn't realize how bad it had gotten, that it affected my vision. But I was back in that place, and not really realizing. And then, I'm like going up to all these booths at the conference. Like, it's an annual conference for, Christian counselors. And, everyone's got their booths set up and like pitching their spiels. And I'm just like looking for like, what's going to be the thing to heal me? What's going to be the thing to like fix whatever's going on?
Somebody help me.
Yeah. And I didn't even like read the sign. I literally like, I'm walking past and like I felt the presence of Jesus, and like I felt like I saw a color when I walked by the Splankna booth. And I was like, I don't know what you do. Tell me, because I feel the Lord on you. Like I whatever this is, like feels like what the Lord wants me to do, or what the Lord's like putting in front of me.
Yeah.
So, okay. So I didn't see a practitioner for like another year, because there weren't any in Georgia at the time.
Yeah.
And that was when I moved to Kansas City. So I saw a practitioner out there. But this is weird. In the space in my like soul, I guess, that I usually hear the Lord, I couldn't hear God, but I could hear. So like I'm telling you, like I couldn't connect with God. I couldn't hear God. It felt that was probably the most lonely aspect of that time, was just like not being able to hear or connect with God. It felt so in the way that I was normally used to, like just having that kind of communion. It was devastating. But I could hear, like every once in a while, like I could hear a baby cry. Like in the space I hear the Lord. And or like I would get around to like an infant, and I would start choking up. And I was like, Jesus, I'm mad at you. Like, why aren't you talking to me, but you're talking in baby cries? Like, what the heck? And so like once I got off my high horse, of like being mad at him, I'm like, okay, there's probably something to this baby thing.
Yeah.
And the more I sat with it, the more I felt like it was actually in the womb. And then I heard that Splankna did in the womb work. And so that was what I went to my first practitioner with, was like, this is an odd request, but I feel like the Lord is wanting me to work on in the womb. And I heard that you guys do that. Can we try that?
How did you even
And
have a context for that before Splankna? That I didn't know there was such thing as womb trauma before being a practitioner. You don't even know.
no, I
You
mean,
learned about that
I conceptually,
like in
you know,
college.
yeah, like we learned, a lot of attachment starts in the womb.
Okay.
And so a lot of my feelings and sensations felt like it didn't make sense for just being a part of my life unless they were pre-memory. Like just things that felt like they had been just like there for a
Wow.
really long time.
Huh.
So I've always been very introspective and like, I guess, deep in that way,
Yeah.
but also get in my head. I'll also have gotten in my head a lot too much. But yeah, so that was the first session I did, and we went to, I think it was either it was in the womb or conception, but I basically had to, the primary emotion was dread, because I was mad at God for choosing to bring me into the world into such a chaotic family, because I could sense the kind of turmoil,
Yeah.
spiritual warfare and dynamic between my parents and what was going on with my mom. And I didn't want to be in there. I didn't want to be in the world, and if that's your introduction in the world, that's part of why I'm so attuned, is because, I mean, it was a trauma response.
Wow.
I had to be super aware growing up of my family and all of their emotions. So.
Wow. So you have turned it into kind of a gifting now, but it was you built that out of a survival tactic, essentially.
Well, and I think a lot of people that call themselves empaths, that will run your life if you let it. It's not meant to, I think you can use it for the Lord, but that's been something the Lord's really been challenging me on the last few years, is how I was always looking for the darkness in other people or sin in other people, and looking and like halting it as righteousness. And it's like, that's not what I do, bud. I'm always looking for the good. And like, he's so redemptive, and always feeling other people's feelings. Like, that's not sustainable,
Yeah. Yeah. Like your ability to empath, to be an empath is heightened more than the typical empath. So you have found that you actually have to draw a line. You
Oh,
have to
100%.
like, there is
I
a
mean, I
line
think
that
it
I can
was,
cross willingly, and I just have learned I can't do that.
yeah, I have to be mindful of, it may be a little graphic, but it's almost like you're spilling your guts out, like you gotta hedge that in, and you have to have boundaries between you and other people.
Yeah. Yeah, I consider myself an empath. I feel people's feelings very strongly, and I did not grow up in a traumatic environment. And so I've always wondered about that. I'm like, why did I develop that? But I did grow up with just especially like an amazing dad, so kind and loving but quiet. And he didn't offer his thoughts, feelings, emotions. He was very internal about all of it. So I in an attempt to wonder, like, is he okay? What is he thinking? Is he upset, or is he having a great day? You had to read the eyebrow twitches and
Yeah,
because he's so steady, which is amazing. Gave me such a foundation for my life. But
sure.
if he's having the worst day of his life or the best day of his life, I had to try to like
Yeah.
read between the lines and the tone of voice and the sighs and and just we live in a culture where I don't know, hard things are not freely talked about. if you hurt my feelings, I'm not going to tell you because that's awkward. So now I have to try to guess if I hurt your feelings. You're just
Yep.
going to side eye me or give me you're going to be weird around me. And then I have to try to remember it's like all this.
Yep.
I just grew up feeling like I had to do all this detective work because I
Yep.
just want everybody to get along so bad.
Yep. Yeah. Along with the trauma, my parents didn't do conflict, like
Conflict. Yeah.
yeah. But I mean, if you're being curious, about how you got that, it sounds like you were on the right track with that. I mean, kids under 8, if see their parents as superheroes, and that's something we talk about in this Splankna, right? And so like parents can kind of do no wrong. So if there is wrong, then it must be me.
Yeah.
And so kids often make that shift of, I need to make the adjustment. So for you to be able to receive love or connection with dad, I have to be the one to read him. I have to attune to him. So learning that skill or that mode of connecting with people.
Yeah, which honestly, like, that's why I'm a Splankna practitioner. That's why I'm a nurse. That's why I care about people, because it is a skill that I feel like is innately in me now, and I'm grateful for it. But it is interesting to think like, oh, this might not just be my personality that I was born with. Maybe I learned this along the way.
Yeah, well, I think it's both, like I think the Lord offers giftings to us, based on what we go through. Or maybe he pre-planned it, that way. But I do know it was kind of a way to just keep coming back to the Lord. Like when I get in session, it's like I'm able to turn that gift on and connect with people and connect with the Lord. I also have to be very careful as a practitioner that, I'm not relying on connecting with God for other people to be my sole source of connection with him,
That's a good
You know
word.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I gotta,
Oh, yeah, I know what you mean.
it's gotta be a full cup. Yeah.
Yeah. So you started therapy because you went to school to be a counselor, because you were stuck in PTSD trying to figure out how do I help myself actually come back to life.
Yeah, pretty much.
So you went,
It was part like figuring out things for myself. I mean, I'd shifted before, but it was definitely like a confirmation that I was on the right track.
yeah.
But like, I went to school for mass communication. I was planning on, doing live production, like, front of house sound, if you know what that is, or recording. I really like the music space like that, video production. But I just realized, a lot of why I was leaning into that was because I grew up helping my dad do live sound and set up, stuff at church, and really enjoyed that. But I loved getting to people to experience the presence of God and be changed by God. And I was like, actually, I think I could do that a lot better interpersonally,
Yeah.
And so that was a big reason for the switch, like either in a small group setting or, one-on-one. I think I could actually share that same presence with people, like in that space. So, and I also really wanted to understand more about my mom at the time too, because she had bipolar, and I was seeking to understand, what's really going on with her, because it's just not something, we talked about. So,
So you finished your schooling, and then you went and got trained in Splankna. So what's your title?
I didn't get trained in Splankna until at core until 2017, which was 4 years after college.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what did you graduate with? What's your educational background?
A bachelor's in counseling psychology.
Okay. So do you mostly meet with people in your practice from a Splankna perspective or just a counseling perspective?
So I don't have my master's, right? So I just do Splankna. I do some, Emmanuel prayer.
Yeah.
Incorporate some EFT tapping things. I really like EFT.
Yeah.
That's a part of the protocol, right? But according to Sarah, I always distinguish this is Splankna. This is not Splankna.
Yeah. But you have a whole kind of a more holistic view of what you're doing when you sit with people, because like my background is a registered nurse. You
Yeah.
actually went to school and learned
Yeah.
things
Yeah.
that are applying to the things that coming out of your client's mouth. I just love that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think the biggest thing I felt like I learned was just how to be with people, in their place of pain, how to
Yeah.
listen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does it weigh heavily on you sitting with people in a lot of pain over and over and over again? Like, how do you exist with with such a feeling heart, and then you're sitting listening to so much pain for hours every week?
Rugby.
I thought you were going to say like fasting and prayer.
Oh my God. Yeah, no.
Get this guy some rugby.
Yeah. Pickleball, like just being active,
Yeah.
I need something to engage my focus, my aggression, my passion,
Yeah.
Rugby does that for me.
We started this whole thing talking about, it's really fun having you on here as a man's voice, since we don't get to have men on here often.
Yeah.
And honestly, there's not a lot of male practitioners in Splankna. There's not a lot of male therapists compared to female therapists in the world in general. And there's not a lot of men seeking healing as much as there is women seeking healing. Like 95% of my clients are women.
Yeah.
Like, can you just talk to that aspect? Like, my heart goes out to the men because their whole lives, like especially the men, have been not given any permission to feel anything. And at the same time, emotions are not optional. You have to have them. So if you have to have them, but you're not allowed to have them in your culture, that creates a lot of problems, a lot of pain in our marriages, in our families.
Yep.
Like, what are we doing with that? What is the hope for these men out there? Especially like you said, I don't know, the ones that grew up in really rough households, they've got a lot under the surface, or they've been in the army, they've seen things that the rest of us can't even imagine seeing or surviving. Like, what would you say to them? What would their step be?
I think on the one hand, I understand why it's hard to talk about what feels vulnerable because of all the potential danger in that, the lack of acceptance, the how I will be seen. But I think in that too, I'd offer a challenge. All those things are more so elements of the false self. So the true man that we've been grafted into as men, as new creations, is attuned to our emotions, is attuned to God, is attuned to the people around us in love. And being emotionless and stuffing things is not Christ-like.
Wow.
And so, if I may say, be so bold, if you're listening to this and you feel that nudge from the Holy Spirit, I know for me, the Father is constantly initiating me more and more into what it is to be a good man, to be a man that looks like Christ. And I can either resist that and go my own way, or I can yield and I can learn how to manage my kingdom unto a higher kingdom, unto a higher king, to be a good steward, to be a good king over what God's entrusted to me. And part of that is learning how to steward myself, to steward my soul, which includes my emotions. And if you don't have men that you can trust with your emotions, that's on you. Because men follow men with strength, yeah. And I find more often than not, like, 90% of the time when I'm vulnerable with someone and I open up that door, they're vulnerable too with men.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, I don't really have anyone to talk about with this.
It's like everybody's just waiting.
Exactly.
For somebody to take
Bro, do it.
Yeah.
Just do it,
Oh.
That's on you. That might sound a little harsh, but I think, if everyone's just pointing the finger, you're up.
Yeah.
You're up.
You might be pleasantly surprised what meets you on the other
100%,
side.
100%. I feel like vulnerability is like my superpower,
Yeah.
in small groups and friendships, like I'll just like open that door and then it just gives permission. Vulnerability begets vulnerability, and it disarms. We expect people to shame us, and I think maybe if men grew up in that culture, you have to be maybe a little bit more wise. Maybe don't like be smart about it, right? Like don't, if you're like, I'm just picturing like we're about to go on the football field to play, a game, and then you're like, man, I've been really struggling with, like that's probably not the right time.
Read the room, buddy.
Read the room, like you know what I mean. But I mean, if you're one-on-one, playing golf or whatever, be like, hey man, I've actually been having a really hard time with this. Would you just be able to listen to me for a minute?
Mm-hmm.
Just open that door. It's got to be, and you can read if that person's ready or not for that. Mm. But at least you tried, and you can try again and keep trying. And I think it's weird. It's like as men, we like battles. We like winning. We like competition generally, overcoming things. But when it comes to emotions, it's like Achilles' heel, It's like we just don't have the will to fight that, which is very curious to me.
Yeah.
It's not that hard of a battle. It just feels like it's more lack of awareness, lack of knowledge, lack of understanding on how to do it. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot that goes into it, but...
Yeah. My husband says that men thrive when they have a challenge. They're meant to live in some sort of struggle because they need to overcome. They have to have something to overcome. And so if men are meant to live in a place of challenge and it makes them feel alive, I don't know how to, I'm going to just literally say this. This is the first time I'm putting it into words, but it's like, I think a lot of men, it seems like, think, okay, life is supposed to be hard. I'm meant for challenge. So I'm going to take all of my hard and swallow it and handle it like a man. I'm just going to tough it out. And my husband always says the hard that comes with emotion for men is sitting in the emotion and being able to tolerate it. Like I can sit with frustration right here. And I'm not going to scream at anybody, and I'm not going to run away or shove it all down. I can handle it. It's right here. It's at the surface. I'm frustrated. I'm mad. I'm devastated. And I can still show up in my life, in my conversation with my wife. I can still sit with my kids. I can work through hard things without exploding or retreating. But I think the message in our culture is, you're meant to be a man, go through hard things. So shut up and swallow your hard emotions and get over it and be a man. And it's like, you're close, except for the shut up and stop talking about it.
Yeah. I mean, there's also this, I think, false narrative put out by, mainly by females around men, needing to be this. And that's not like I'm being very general here.
Yeah.
Needing to be, strong for them, and not like I hear from, certain men that they try to be open with their wives or their significant other and are harshly judged for that, or it's taken advantage of, or.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
But that still doesn't negate your responsibility in that.
Yeah.
How she responds to you.
Yeah.
Like, you still have to do the good that you know you need to do to be open, be honest. Because if you just keep eating that emotion, it's going to come out. And like, not processing emotions just doesn't make them go away. They just build.
Yes, that's
You
great.
know?
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Right? So I have, like, for me, like, I know I have a few core people that I keep in touch with, you know, if not weekly, every other week, that I can just talk to whatever about. And that's not something that I just happened upon, you know? Like, that's years of investment to be able to get to that point.
No, I love what you're saying. I think, like, in my mind, to tell me what you think about this, like a strong man, because men are meant to be strong. They're meant to be the leaders of the house.
Mm.
And to me, a strong man emotionally means he can have all the emotions, run the whole gamut. He can feel everything, but it doesn't derail him in the way of like
Yeah.
being so reactive to every emotion. Because now you're not strong and steady for your family. You are the scary person.
No, your emotions are owning you.
Yeah. So you're like this owner. You have every emotion under the sun, but you are in charge of them. You can
Yes.
tell your wife, hey, I'm really struggling right now. I am feeling so defeated. This is why. This is how I'm feeling it. This is how long it's been going on. And I just wanted you to know. And I want you to know that I'm seeking the Lord on it. That kind of a man, a woman will feel so secure with. Because now that woman, that wife doesn't have to try to guess why her husband isn't speaking to her.
Yeah.
Is it because he's mad at me? Is it because he's cheating on me? Is it because no, it's because now I know you told me you're struggling, you're exhausted, you're burnt out. And then the wife can come and be like, okay, we're in this together.
Well,
what do you need?
Right. And I think not sharing I see this, you know, sometimes with couples, like the men sharing, they're thinking they're being vulnerable and really they're just crapping on their wives and saying what they're doing that's making them upset. You know, and that's not being vulnerable.
Yeah. Tell me your definition of vulnerable from a healthy man perspective.
Vulnerable is showing your own weakness, your own brokenness, your own needs.
Not
Part
pointing
of,
out
you
the
know,
weaknesses of
being emotionally available and mature man is knowing your strengths and knowing your weaknesses. And when you share from that place, you can share from a place of strength. You can share your weakness from a place of strength. Like, I know, you know what I mean?
How
Like
do you do that?
what you were just asking for, right? You were asking for your husband to stay grounded, right? It sounds like he does that with you. Mm-hmm. Right? But able to share weakness. It's not that it's acting from the weakness. It's acting from a place of strength and showing the weakness. Right?
Wow. That's so well said. I love that. I've never heard anyone put it into words like that. You're exactly right. Yeah, like I think of a toddler. I've got 5 kids. I've had a toddler in my house every day for the past 14 years.
Oh, Lord bless you.
I have lots of experience with children. When they're mad, they're going to tell you they're mad and they're going to explode their mad all over you. And then I, as the mom, the adult.
Men don't do that, right?
I, as the adult, the mom, have to be the one to absorb all that mad, to manage all the mad, to respond to the mad. And that is right, because I am the adult. They're the little child in that scenario. They need to have a solid person in their life that will help them regulate their own emotions because they're 4. But when I am married to a man, I want to be able to support him, hear him, listen, understand, and know him, everything that's going on in his life. But I don't want to always be able or have to be the one to manage his emotions for him. Like, hopefully, in an ideal world, a healthy man can have emotions and manage them himself instead of depend on or force his wife to do it. What do you think about that? Is that fair?
Don't relinquish that responsibility that's meant to be yours. Yeah. And don't put your wife in the position that the Lord's supposed to be in. as Lord of your emotions. Like, that is not her job.
That's a good word.
That is not, that is too heavy of a burden, yeah?
Yeah.
I think the Lord is meant to be our primary caregiver, and then ourselves, and then our partner.
It
I think
kind
a
of
lot of
sounds
times
like I'm being hard on men right now. And I mean it not like that at all, because if you're 40 and you have no experience of being in charge of your emotions rather than running from them or exploding with them, like 100% grace. You were supposed to have learned this as a child, but nobody taught it to you.
Okay.
So,
Yes. Thank you for bringing that up. This is like more the hopeful piece. I find it extremely helpful, and have found it extremely helpful in my process in learning how to reparent myself and to look at these emotions. I can tell when there's an emotion that's coming up, that's flooding me or trying to overwhelm me, that feels like it's coming from a younger part of myself. And so that's a younger part of me stuck in the past, crying out to me or the people around me or to God for help. And so it is my responsibility and no one else's to take care of that inner child. And most of the time it's, for men, it's for men and women, but I think a lot of the times it's a father wound. It can also be a mother wound, But you now get to be that man to that boy that's needing attention or needing affection. And you get to figure that out with the Lord. And there's a great podcast on all of the things I'm talking about, called Become Good Soil. It's Morgan Snyder. He also wrote a book called Becoming a King. And it's all about the initiation of us into being a good man, as men. And I mean, it kicks my butt every week, every time I listen to it. It's like, oof, okay. It's meaty, man,
wow.
Very, very, very good content. Morgan is, I want to, meet him someday. It's just like such an inspiration. And I can sit, on my high horse and like, oh, I'm so great with emotions. It's like, no, like every day, it's still a struggle, to be vulnerable. And I think specifically to yield to the Lord every day and to lead with my brokenness and to feel and allow myself to feel uncomfortable. I think, like I mentioned at the beginning, it's really easy to not feel uncomfortable feelings, to just like scroll on my phone, do whatever, and anything to not feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And it's often where I find the Lord. It's just sitting in the uncomfortable feelings, waiting for me.
Yeah, I hear you speaking, and I'm like, my desire for all these men who are like, I mean, I am 40 next year. Like, these middle-aged men
No
are
way.
my peers. Yes. And we are the ones like running the families, raising the kids, owning the businesses, influencing our neighbors. We are the adults of the world right now, which feels weird because a part of me still feels like I'm like this little carefree teenager and I've got 5 kids and a mortgage. But
Yeah.
my heart's desire is that men would experience, not like, hey guys, we need you to get healthy because you're miserable to be around. It's like, you deserve, men, to not have to shove down every feeling you have all the time. You deserve, because when you shut off
Yeah, you're worth that.
you are worth it. When you shut off all your
100%.
hard feelings, you also shut off your joy, your ability to feel happiness.
Yeah.
And you're just that
Yeah,
emotional.
you're not just shutting
person.
off the uncomfortable feeling, you're shutting off all feelings. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't just choose to shut off the hard. Your body will just shut down emotion altogether.
Yeah.
So the gift of learning how to have hard emotions and sit in them without shutting them down, swallowing them, shoving them, ignoring them, is a gift for yourself because it will bring joy into your life in a way that you haven't had before. And you deserve not to be the person who lashes out and screams and then feels shame and regret and resentment and like a failure of a man. You deserve not to feel that either. There's something in the middle that is a healed version of you that can feel an emotion and be in control of that emotion.
Yeah.
Show up for the people in your life, show up for the childhood version of yourself, and you're not scared of any of it. You're not scared that it's going to overtake you because you're like, I know I can take any of this to the Lord and he's going to carry it for me. It's too big of a burden for any human to carry, but the Lord says it's easy for him. So I'm just going to go dump it onto him in my prayer time, in my exercising time, in my whatever. I got to offload it to somebody.
Overcome the fear of feeling those emotions. That's what's to be overcome, you know.
That's the battle.
It's you know, it's easier, you know, to not do that, but to actually address that fear and come with boldness into that space. Also, I really love the Pause app. So it's called 1 Minute Pause. It's from the Wild at Heart crew, so John Eldredge. And they do like, you know, they have a 30-day walkthrough, like 2 different ones. And like I'm thinking about specifically maybe the men that, like I have a couple men, you know, they do not have breaks hardly. You know, it's really hard to spend time with the Lord, but that's something I recommend, you know, to them is like, just take 10 minutes. It's a guided time of prayer with the Lord and connection with his heart, and helps to start getting some of that language there, right? Like even at the start, there's a prompt like, what am I feeling right now? And you get to choose, you know. So it's a great kind of self-assessment tool, as well as how do I connect with Jesus in this emotion? How can I actually connect with the man, Jesus?
Yeah. So
and start to let him lead that. Yeah.
That makes me think of, there's something I say 100 times, but we literally spent hundreds and hundreds of dollars in counseling to learn this. So I'm just going to share it with everybody who will listen for free. Okay.
Yeah.
The only way 2 humans can connect is like emotionally connect. I mean, like have an emotional relationship, a friendship with each other is this mathematical equation, if you will. But it is someone shares something vulnerable. The other person responds compassionately. And that thing goes both ways, right? So if you can't be vulnerable because your whole life that was shut down for you, you are going to live kind of isolated. Even if you're surrounded by your family, your friends, you're not going to feel You're not going to feel like anyone really knows you. And you're going to spend your whole time on this planet isolated and having no deep friendships. And it's like coded in us to need deep friendships, right? Like we crave it on a level that is indescribable. And so learning to be vulnerable, saying something about your weaknesses. I am struggling. I am not good at this. I made a mistake. Anything vulnerable. And if the person responds with, wow, I had no idea. Thank you for telling me. Or like, dude, that sounds hard. Wow. Or you say something vulnerable to Jesus. I mean, it's the same thing. Hey, God, I'm not doing well down here. I need help. And then you feel his love come in. You feel him sitting right next to you at your desk or in your car, and he just shows up for you, that compassionate response. Now you're starting to feel like Jesus is a friend and not just this guy in heaven judging you all the time. Like this vulnerability thing is a big, big, big deal.
It is a very big deal. It's also like magic sauce for a relationship. You know, it just deepens connection.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. I think we could talk for 2 more hours. I got to find a landing place, but I love that you ended this with some resources. So if you are the guy, or if you know the guy who has spent his whole life practicing shoving his emotions, and you're like, something's got to give. This is not sustainable, like Josh said. Check out this podcast, Become Good Soil by Morgan Snyder, or check out the 1 Minute Pause app by John Eldredge. John Eldredge, he's like Wild at Heart is like the original, as far as I ever heard, manly man Christian guy. Like, this is how you be a man and follow Christ at the same time.
Yeah, their content has gotten a lot deeper and more mature, a lot meatier.
Okay.
So like Morgan Sanders is actually a part of that crew.
I love it.
So,
those are great resources. You guys, Josh is a virtually trained Splankna practitioner. So if what he's saying resonates with you, if you're like, I need something, I need to start my own Splankna journey, I need to start working on some of my father wounds, my mother wounds, get a grip on the decades of pain that I have ignored, and you're looking for a practitioner, I'm going to link everything in Josh's kind of professional information in the show notes. Some practitioners do virtual sessions, so you can live on the other side of the world from them, and it doesn't matter. In Splankna, we call it...
surprised by what the Lord shows up with. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. And in Splankna, it's called Listening Prayer Certified. So if you get on the website and you see that phrase, just know that it just means Zoom. You can do it over Zoom. The entire reason we do this podcast is because I want people to know that there is hope and healing available. There are people out there that care that you're not doing okay. And you don't have to just deal with it. There is, like Josh's journey. He was literally numb and to the point of PTSD, shaking at night before he could go to sleep. And now here he is, like extending that healing to other people. And it's no different for you. The stuff you've been through is healable. So as many resources as we can put
That's
out
a
there.
good message. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because what does the enemy tell us? It's over for you. Everyone else can heal, but not you.
Yeah.
And I am here to say that is just a lie from hell. It's not true.
Yeah.
But if you believe it, you'll never call people like Josh and say, hey, I need help. So any final words?
I just want to pray for the men.
Yeah.
Pray for the women too, but specifically for the men.
I love it. Go ahead.
Yeah. So Father, I lift up all the men that might be listening. God, and I ask whatever you were saying through me and Laura that resonated, that convicted, that spoke life. Lord, I ask that you would create good soil in their hearts right now to receive your word, Lord, and to take it and to grow. So all these men, Lord, I bless you to be emotionally intelligent. I bless you to be vulnerable from a place of strength. I bless you to love yourself like the Lord loves you. To be the father and the husband and brother and the man that God called you to be. To be able to yield all of your emotions before the Lord, before his headship. And I bless all the women, Lord, that love these men, that long for them to step into that place of emotional strength that's yielded to you, Jesus. I ask that you would guard them from being bitter, or enable them and strengthen them, empower them to also show what emotional strength looks like, to love these men well, to love them like you love them. Lord, I even pray for all the marriages and ask that you would, what God has joined together, let no man separate. Would you bring a spirit of unity over them? Lord, and anyone that's hearing that's marriages on the rocks, God, I just ask for breakthrough, for freedom. Lord, I ask that you would give them steps and that you would redeem those situations. God, even I lift up any wayward sons or daughters, specifically sons though. I'm just thinking about, God, I ask that you would bring them home and that you would show parents, God, what it means to be emotionally vulnerable and present with their kids. And we lift all this up to you and ask that your kingdom come and your will be done in all these lives, God. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.